In the past 2 episodes of American Artifact, we've been at Little Round Top, which is arguably one of the most popular spots on the Gettysburg battlefield. In episode 29, we brought a hat that belonged to General Gouverneur K. Warren to the very place where he identified the threat to the Union left flank on the second day of the battle. In episode 30, we brought a super unique artifact from the Gettysburg Museum of History to the spot where Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain and the 20th Maine held the line against repeated assaults by the 15th Alabama under Colonel William Oates. But many people who visit Little Round Top don't realize that there's more to see beyond the 20th Maine Monument. Just to the east is a stone wall where Colonel Chamberlain sent Company B in the final moments before the assault to strengthen their flank. And it was here that years later, a relic of that fight was recovered. Well, right here is the marker of the position for Company B, and we talked about this in the Little Round Top video that I did for History Traveler, but we'll just make brief mention of it again. So as I mentioned, Joshua Chamberlain sends Company B out. They were behind this wall right here and were facing this direction. Now the foliage is really thick, so you can't hardly see anything right now. You can see better in the other video whenever the foliage is less dense. But just up here ahead of us is the slope of Little Round Top. So you would have had Confederates from Alabama advancing from left to right. You would have had the rest of Chamberlain's men right up here on the slopes of Little Round Top on the far left flank of the Union line. And it was Company B firing from this position right into the flank of the men from Alabama that really is said to have initiated the retreat simultaneously, I guess that's the right word to use, simultaneously with the downhill charge from the 20th Maine.
So on July 2nd, 1863, Company B of the 20th Maine was moved down here to prevent the Confederates from flanking. Chamberlain was afraid that the Confederates would just reach around and flank them from the side, which was a common move in the Civil War. So Company B came down here, and the wall right here is the park boundary. So this is national park land. When you step over that wall, it's private property. Now, many decades ago, people used to relic hunt over here where it was legal. And this relic was found by a local relic hunter over here on private property. And it is the remains of a Civil War cap. And the horn is an infantry insignia. And the B is a company insignia, and this is the buckle from the top, from the front of the hat with a little bit of leather remnant. So what happens to a Civil War hat when it's lost and it sits in the woods for several decades is it decays. You know, bugs eat the wool, microbes eat it, and you're left with the metal parts. Of course, the leather is still on this piece because sometimes you'll see little bits of leather or cloth around brass because it serves as almost like a deterrent for it being decayed. So you do see that. That's the last area to decay in an artifact. So it's a pretty good bet that this was from a Company B 20th Maine soldier. I mean, you can't say 100%, but that's who was here. And this was literally found right over this wall. It was found a few feet from this marker right here. Pretty neat artifact. I mean, to think that this was here, perhaps a casualty, perhaps somebody fighting and the hat just fell off. We don't know, but it's really powerful to bring this artifact back to this spot today. So this is a Civil War forage cap, and this is the most common piece of headgear for Union soldiers in the Civil War. The horn that I was talking about would generally go on top of the hat here, and the buckle would go on the chin strap here, and this is about where it would be. Now the chin strap would be secured by 2 buttons, and in this group of artifacts that came from the Company B marker on the round top, there were no buttons, so who knows what happened to those if they, you know, the relic hunter who found this just never found it. And then this B insignia would most likely go either above or below the horn. I've seen them placed like this, and I've seen them placed with the horn up higher and below it, and sometimes they had smaller versions that would go in the middle. I've seen them, there was no rhyme or reason of how they did it. Different units did it different ways. Soldiers kind of seem to have personalized them that way. In 1863, Corps badges also came out, and so those got thrown into the mix as well. And this one doesn't have it, and of course this isn't part of it. They were usually a lot of times made out of cloth as well.
Now, as Erik mentioned, the side of the wall that I'm on right now is park property, and over here on this side of the wall is private property. The National Park Service does have an easement over here, and it is private property, so don't be coming out here with your shovels and your metal detectors and things like that to try and find relics. As a matter of fact, if you want to find a relic, well, you just need to go to the Gettysburg Museum of History, because they have relics that you can purchase at a very reasonable price, and then you can own a piece of history for yourself. But pretty awesome to be able to come out here today, right here, where Company B, you know, really helped to secure the Union left on July the 2nd, 1863. I love connecting these relics with history and just making it a little bit more real for all of us.